Okay, the grade 12 geography research task. We all know it. It's the big one, worth 100 marks. And look, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by it, that's totally normal. But don't you worry. We are going to break down that official guide into a super simple, step-by-step plan. By the time we're done here, you're going to know exactly how to tackle this whole project and get the marks you deserve.
So, here's our game plan. It's a 5-step roadmap. First, we'll get crystal clear on your mission. Then, you'll build a solid foundation with a hypothesis and a study area. After that, you'll put on your detective hat and gather the evidence. Next up, analyzing all that data, and finally, writing a killer report that pulls it all together. Sound good? Let's get started.
All right, first things first. Section 1 is all about understanding your mission. Before you even think about writing, you have to know, really know, what you're being asked to do, and just as important, why it matters. This question right here, this is your North Star for the entire project. Seriously, everything you do, every interview, every photo, every single paragraph you write has to point directly back to answering this. Keep this question about maize, food security, and your local economy front and center at all times.
Now, your introduction is worth 6 marks, and it's way more than just a quick hello. This is where you set the scene. You've got to cover the whole context, the business of maize, how it's farmed, what it's used for, all of that. A great intro connects these dots into a little story that explains exactly why this topic is so important for your specific area.
Okay, mission understood. Now for section 2, building your foundation. This is where you make an educated guess. That's your hypothesis. And you literally put your research on the map by defining your study area. Don't let the word hypothesis freak you out. It sounds fancy, but it's really simple. It's just your best guess before you start digging for facts. Based on what you know right now, what do you think you're going to find? Does maize have a huge impact in your town or a pretty small one? Just write that down. And remember, it is totally okay if your research proves you wrong. That's actually the whole point of doing an investigation. Next up, your study area. You need 2 things here. First, a written description of where you're focusing, and second, a popper map. Now listen, for full marks, the guide is super specific about this map. It absolutely must have a title, a scale, a north arrow, and a neat border. Don't throw away easy marks by forgetting these details. With that foundation solidly in place, you are ready for section 3, gathering your evidence. This is the real research part of the project. This is where you become a geographer, out there collecting data. So, you'll be working with 2 types of data. Primary data is the stuff you go out and get yourself, by interviewing farmers, taking pictures, or just observing things firsthand. Secondary data is all the information that's already out there, stuff that other people collected in textbooks, on websites, or in articles. A really strong project uses a mix of both to build a rock-solid case. Your methodology section is worth a whopping 16 marks, so you've got to be specific. You can't just write, I did some interviews. Nope. You have to lay out your exact plan. You need to state your sources, explain your sampling method, which is just a fancy way of saying how you chose who to talk to. For example, did you pick 5 random farmers or the 5 biggest ones and why? Then you identify your tools, like the exact questionnaire you used. Being systematic is the key to success here. Okay, so you've collected all this awesome information. Now we get to the section with the most marks at stake. Section 4, analyzing the data. This is where you stop just listing facts and start connecting the dots. This is where information becomes insight. And this is why this section is so critical. A massive 20 marks are up for grabs here. That's 10 for economic development and another 10 for food security. This is your chance to really show that you understand the topic and see how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. So how do you analyze it all? Well, the guide actually gives you a clear checklist of indicators to use. For the economic development part, you'll look at your data through these specific lenses. You ask yourself, how does maize production affect jobs? Does it help people learn new skills? And what about this multiplier effect? That's just the cool idea that one job on a farm can create other jobs, maybe for truck drivers or people working in a packaging plant. You need to talk about your findings for each and every one of these points. We are in the home stretch now. Section 5 is all about taking your hard work and shaping it into a polished, professional final report. This is where you bring everything together to make your final, powerful argument. Your findings section isn't just a summary. It's your expert evaluation. Based on everything you've analyzed, you have to make a judgment call. Is the contribution of maize in your area significant or insignificant? Is its impact getting bigger or smaller? You need to be direct and use the evidence you've collected to prove your point. And all of that leads to this final moment of truth, your conclusion. You have to go all the way back to that hypothesis you made at the very beginning. Based on everything you found, was your initial guess right? Here is where you will officially accept or reject your hypothesis. Before you even think about handing this in, use this table as your final checklist. It's basically a simplified version of how you'll be marked. Just look at where the big marks are. You can see how much value is placed on your analysis, your findings, and your conclusion. Use this to make sure you've put your effort where it really, really counts. And there you have it, a complete roadmap to acing this research task. See, it's not about doing everything all at once. It's about taking it one manageable step at a time. So the final question I have for you is this. Now that you have the map, what's the very first small step you can take today to get started?